Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2024 Wildwood 42 View. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit here. If you notice in the back there, you got your cable satellite inlet around the left side of the unit. You got your main 50 amp push lock power connection. You're just taking that metal strip there and lining it up with this side here, pushing that into place. That 8th turn to lock it in, and you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do have your standard 50 amp plug end. Now most campsites may not have 50 amp service, so we do include this 30 amp dog bone adapter. Just keep it in mind whenever you're going down to 30 amps of power, you won't be able to run both air conditioners at one time, and you won't be able to run both fireplaces at one time. You'll only be able to run one at a time, so just be mindful of that. And we also include a 15 amp park adapter to go down from 30 amps as well, but you're going down to even less power, so it's really only going to be running your lights and your refrigerator. Right here you're going to notice this cap. You are pre-plumbed and pre-wired for a washer dryer. Whenever you are running that dryer, if you were to go with that option, contact our parts department about getting set up with that. You always have to make sure that this cap is off. This cap works the same way as all the other ones. You're just taking note of those ears there. Those are going to be the same ears on your sewer hose. You're going to line those guys up, twist it into place, and lock it down. But like I said, if you did go with the washer dryer combo, you always have to make sure that this cap is off whenever you're running that washer, just so you're able to let that water run out. To the left here, you do have your exterior shower. Your unit's going to come with a silver 751 key. You're just going to put it inside that lock like so, twist it and open it up. You got your hot and cold water with a swivel shower head. Right down below, you got your 2 low point drains. That's going to be to drain all the water that's inside the water lines to stop it from going to stale or stagnant. Or if you're doing any work that involves unconnecting any of the water lines, this would be the first thing I would do, is just crack those guys open and make sure that there's no water inside there. Then you get to your first sewer outlet. This is pretty much going to be your main sewer outlet. You got your black tank and your gray tank. You're always going to want to empty your black tank first, as it's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets, and then you can follow behind that with the gray tank, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. This connection here is going to be to empty your main gray tank and your main black tank. Up here, you're going to have this, your water heater. You got your pressure relief valve right down there. And you got your main power switch. Turning that on supplies power to the thermostat inside. When it comes to winterization, you do want to make sure that you run antifreeze through this because it is tankless. And then always cracking this relief valve so it allows that to drain out slowly throughout the winter, so it doesn't build up and gel up and crack anything. Inside here, it's going to give you access to get behind this water heater. Might be bypass valves back there, but make sure you don't touch them. Just leave them as is when you go to winterize. In this corner, as well as all 4 corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way those work is you're going to take the tool that's inside the front compartment, run these down through ground. Once they contact the ground, just giving it another 1/8 or 1/4 turn just to snug it up, and it's going to take any bounce or swing we have in the unit right now away. A little further ahead, this is going to be for your galley. So this is pretty much just for the kitchen sink. Right up top, you're going to notice you got your range hood vent. Always making sure that it's unclipped. You're probably going to need a step stool to get up there. Making sure it's unclipped, and whenever you're traveling, clipping it into place. That way you don't get any excess dust inside the unit. Whenever your furnace is running, this is going to be pushing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You get your fresh water connection. Putting a water hose in there, turning that on, and turning on that water fills your fresh tank. That's what your water pump draws off of. But if you're at a site with service, which is most likely the case for this unit, you can thread a garden hose in there, turn it on. It's going to pressurize all the lines without the need to run your water pump. And then right down below, you do have the drain for that. Just pulling that back allows that water to drain out of that tank. Inside here is just some storage. It's also underneath your bed, so you do get access to it that way. But whenever you are storing stuff in here, just be mindful that you do have your versatile strut here. You're not going to want to block that or damage it in any way, so just be mindful of that. You got your 25-foot water hose with that 15 amp park adapter I told you about earlier. And then you got your sewer hose as well. Also inside this compartment located in the front is going to be your central vac tools inside that yellow bag up front there. Getting around to the front of the unit, you got your 30-pound, 2 30-pound propane tanks. To get that cover off, you're just loosening off those tabs. Flipping this cover open, and it gives you access to everything you need right up top here. It is just as easy as pulling this off to change those tanks or get them refilled. You got a selector valve right in the front here with the arrow pointed this way, running off this tank, and with the arrow pointed to the other way, you'd obviously be pulling off the other tank. Turning that on supplies propane to the unit. Behind that is this little black box. That's going to be where your battery's located and housed. You got your tongue jack in the front, one way's up, the other way's down. You got two 110 plugs on this side here, as well as two more a little further back. To get inside the unit, you're just taking this assist handle, pushing it up, folding it 90 degrees, and it'll lock into place. You can slide open to your doors. You also have another door that goes into the main space back there. It's just easier to get to your controls to the patio door. Stepping on inside, first thing you notice off to the left is just your fire extinguisher. That's gonna be just like home. Pull the pin and shoot. On the wall here, you're gonna have some light switches. That just is gonna do the blue illumination on the speakers outside. You got your ceiling light switch. Turning that on supplies power to this dimmer switch. Hitting that dimmer switch once turns the light on. Pushing and holding it would go bright to dim. Wherever you let off is where it's going to stay. You got another light switch which just turns on your awning LED switch. Water pump. You got your monitor panel system where you got your battery, your fresh, your black, your gray, and your galley. It does show that you have a black 2, but there is no second black tank installed, so you do only have gray, galley, and black 1. And then you got your slide out button. Pushing that button and holding it down will allow those slide outs to come out. Always making sure that you're clear on either side of the slide, both inside and out, whenever you're running these slides. That way you don't damage anything. When those both slide outs are fully extended, you're going to hear the motors wind up and kind of cut out. And that's when you're going to know you're fully extended. And there you go, you're fully extended. You got a little light switch on the wall here. That's going to turn on that ceiling fan inside the main living space. You got that thermostat I told you about for the water heater. Pushing that button on turns it on. It's going to tell you your current output temp, which would be 19 degrees Celsius. Going up or down will change your set temperature. As it sits right now, it's only going to let you go to 50 degrees, and that's just kind of an added child safety feature so they don't go scolding their hands. Pushing this up button and holding it will unlock it to go up to 55 if you're to want to do so. And you can also just change which system it reads in just by pushing that button, and then to turn it off, just pushing that button off. You got your thermostat on the wall here. This thermostat's going to control your rear AC as well as your furnace. Hitting that button once, it's just going to illuminate itself. Hitting it a second time, you're going to go into fan low. So at this point, you're just running air around with the air conditioners. There's no heating or cooling involved. And with both air conditioners, you have a couple ways you can run it. You can run it with the louvers closed like they are now, and it's going to push all its air through the ceiling ducting we have around the unit, or you can open up those louvers and it's just going to dump all its air straight down. Pushing this thermostat button again will get you to fan high. So again, that's just moving air around on a high fan. One more time, you get to cool high. So now the air conditioner is going to run in full time with the fan on high. Then you get into cool low. Again, just air conditioning on a low fan at any point in time. Pushing the up or down buttons will change the temperature. Cool low auto. Whenever you're in auto, it's going to become an on-demand system. So the air conditioner is going to kick in and out as needed, depending on what the thermostat's set to. Same thing, but on a high fan. And then you get into heat. So that's going to fire up that furnace, which does run off propane. Whenever that furnace is running, it's blowing all its air out of the floor ducting you have around the unit. And because that runs off propane, propane's heavier than air. You got an LP detector right on the other side of this island here. That guy's going to, if that guy starts going off, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up some windows just to ventilate it out a little bit. You got another accent light right down below here. On the wall, you're going to notice you have some more light switches. Turning those on just turns on some more lights around the unit. And you got your awning button. Hitting that button extend, that awning's going to start making its way out. Once the awning's fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hanging down. Sometimes that flap can get stuck, so you just have to retract it a little bit and then bring it back in. And whenever you start to get about 5 km/h winds, because the awning is so big, you are just going to want to make sure that you bring that in so you don't run the risk of ripping your fabric or bending your arms. So there you go, you got the back of the metal tube and that little flap hanging down. Now if it were to start raining, You can take any arm, front or rear, pull down right at that nut connection there, and it's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now, if you like that angle better, you could do the same thing with the rear arm, and it's going to allow for more shade underneath. Just always making sure you push them back to straight whenever you go to retract it. Now, retracting is pretty simple. You're just holding that retract button until the awning contacts the side of the trailer, and then you can let off and you're fully retracted. Oh. All right, so you're gonna both hear that awning contact the side of the trailer, and you're gonna know you're fully in then at that point. Now you have a whole bunch of other buttons here. Push any one of these buttons you push up, it's gonna activate it, and you can push up, and that's gonna allow that TV to lift up, obviously. And then if you want to bring it down, you can just bring it down. It allows for more counter space as well as a cleaner look. Turning that button off, and then you can control all your shades. Now the shades are all controlled in the main living space electronically, so you do make sure not to pull down on them. There's even a sticker on here that says do not pull down. But that is pretty simple. It's just pushing whichever ones you want to operate up. Push down, they're going to go down. Push up, they're going to go up. Up into the loft space here is just going to be pretty much mattresses and some storage space. Not much else up there. To get into the bedroom, the door is kind of weird, so just be prepared for that. You kind of have to push and slide at the same time, and it opens on up. Taking a step on down, watching your head because there is a little bit of a ledge there. You got your light switch right behind your door. You got your VersaTilt bed control. Always making sure whenever you bring that slide out in, your VersaTilt bed is all the way up, so that way that mattress doesn't contact the dresser and cause any extra stress on the slide. And then you can just drop it whenever you have that slide out, and it'll start making its way down. And then you got that second thermostat in here. It's going to work the same way as the front one, except it's only going to control this one front air conditioner. And again, you can only run one air conditioner at a time if you're on 30 amp service. But if you are on 50 amp service, you can run both at the same time. All the blinds inside the main all the blinds inside the bedroom, the bathroom, as well as the two loft areas work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them, and you just give them one pull, and they'll retract themselves back up. Right here, you're going to notice this sticker that there's an antifreeze inlet. This is how you get to your antifreeze connection. You're just taking this drawer. You got knobs on either side that you have to push in and pull out. One goes down, the other one goes up, and it'll allow you to slide that drawer out of place. And then you can reach down in there, grab that antifreeze inlet as well as the valve down there. You'd have to turn that. Dump this into that pail of coolant, and it'll allow you to winterize the unit. And then you just push that drawer back into place, and it locks in. Storage space all around. And then you have your fireplace. This fireplace is going to work the same way the one in the main living space. You got your power button to turn it on the far right. Right next to that, you're going to change your different flame colors. And then you got your different rock light colors as well. And then beside that, pushing that button twice puts you into low heat. One more time, you get into high heat. And then you do have a timer on the other side, which goes anywhere from 30 minutes to 9 hours. Power button on the right to turn it off. You got individual lights above the bed. It's going to be about it for this space here. Stepping back into this area, you got your refrigerator, which is a residential style refrigerator, so it's only going to work whenever you are on shore power. You got your travel straps, always making sure that those are locked whenever you're moving this thing around. That way you don't run the risk of wrecking anything. To undo those straps, it is just Velcro. And you open this up, and you got all your controls for your refrigerator and freezer up top here. One thing to note with this, that if you do run that ice maker, you're always going to have to make sure you winterize it at the end of the year. That way it doesn't crack. Locking that travel strap back into place. And you got your sink with hot and cold water. Of course, storage space down below. Just being mindful of those water lines and drains. All these chairs here, notice they're travel strapped into place. That way they don't go anywhere whenever you're moving. You got your microwave convection oven, which has the light and the vent built in. Down below, you got your stove and your oven. Works pretty simple. This also works off propane, so be mindful of that. You got 2 switches on either side. One does the... So sometimes it can take a minute just to purge all the air out of the propane lines. So just be patient with it that way, but eventually they do all light. You're just pushing those knobs, turning over to light and pushing them in, activates the igniter. And then down below you got your oven, which does work the same way. It just sometimes takes a lot more time to get going if you have the propane off for a while. So you're just holding that igniter down, and eventually you'll see that pilot light does light, and you can see that right through these vent holes here, and then you can turn it up to your desired temperature and it fires right on up. Inside here is just some storage space. You got your little lounge area with some lights overhead. You get into your entertainment center, which again, you have another one of those fireplaces, and it works the same way as the one in the bedroom. Then you got your sound bar, which pretty much just like home, minus the fact of having zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 2 is going to be your exterior speakers, and zone 1 is going to be your interior speakers. You do have a little bit of storage space inside the couch here. Up top, this loft area, again, the same deal as the front one. Just some bed space and some storage space. And then opening up this door, which does work the same way as the one in the bedroom, a little different. Taking a step on inside, you do have this little motion sensing light, which is quite nice. Main light switch on the left. You got your main GFI plug. You got reset in the middle, test on the left. If that orange light's on, the system's tripped, so you do have to make sure that you have that reset. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, that would be the first place I'd check. You got storage space down below as well as in here, and again, line that works the same way as the one in the bedroom. And then of course, you have your main breaker and fuse panel. Whenever a fuse pops, there'll be a little red indicator light telling you which one's popped, and whenever a breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Inside here is going to be where you're pre-plumbed and pre-wired for that washer-dryer combo. You can use it as storage space if you didn't want to go with that option. Then you have your shower as well as your toilet. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call, of course. And then you have your central vac power switch on the left. The tools for that were underneath that front bed, which I showed you earlier. And then of course you have your quick dustpan there. Having that up will suck in anything in front of it. Just being mindful that it does go into a vacuum bag, so it's really only for gravel and dirt. Not going to be wanting to put anything too big in there. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.